The other big story is whether or not we're going to see a health care vote today. That it was pushed off till today. There was a lot of speculation that the president had said, we're done with negotiation, I want to vote. That is supposed to happen today sometime. We're lucky to be joined right now by Illinois Congressman Rodney Davis from the 13th Congressional District in Illinois. Congressman, I suspect you might not have gotten a lot of sleep last night. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing well, Mark. And you're right, but it's been an interesting week out here. I've experienced some shuttle diplomacy to the White House in regards to trying to make this bill better and get the votes we need to pass it today.
So where does it stand? Just as we went on the air here, CNN flashed a story across that the speaker had informed the president he didn't have the votes. You've been helping count these votes. Where does it stand?
Well, that news is news to me, and I'm in the Capitol right now, and I'll walk over to the Speaker's office to confirm what the decision is. I hope we can. I hope that we take a vote. We've for years talked about replacing a system, a collapsing system that even former President Bill Clinton said was a disaster, and now's our chance to do it. We have negotiated. I've watched the president personally negotiate and personally get engaged to fulfill the promise he made and the promises we made. And we've just got Democrats who won't offer any solutions, won't even offer any ideas. They just stand up and say no. And then we've got a few in our party that have decided they'd rather have chaos than progress.
Do you think if this vote is taken and fails, I mean, the president said he was willing to just walk away and let Obamacare fail. Do you think there's not a chance that we could get some other bill down the road somewhere?
This is the best negotiated bill that is going to accomplish everything that we have said we wanted to do in repealing and replacing Obamacare. Taking what is not working and getting rid of it. $2 billion websites. 31 million people having coverage in this country that they can't afford to use. We're going to make it more competitive, better. We also make sure we don't pull the rug out from anyone so that states like Illinois who have expanded Medicaid don't have to immediately deal with a crisis come 2018. That's what we have said we were going to do. This bill is the epitome of that. It protects pre-existing conditions. It has no lifetime caps, things that were wrong with our healthcare system before the ACA. We keep those. Those are things that the American people demanded of us. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why even many in my own party aren't looking ahead, because this is our only chance. If you said to your voters that you wanted to repeal and replace Obamacare, this is your chance. If you said you wanted to defund Planned Parenthood and move that money to community health centers, this is the bill to do that. And we're going to see if we're going to get the votes, Mark.
We've got Congressman Rodney Davis on the phone with us right now, who's been in the middle of this negotiation, saying he was part of some shuttle diplomacy to the White House and back. It's my understanding that the Freedom Caucus in the negotiation managed to get some wording to remove these essential benefits. Is that true? Would that be in the final version of the bill that's voted on?
Well, essential health benefits are benefits set by the Affordable Care Act, but they're also benefits that have already been set by states. And the essential health benefits provision would only apply to those policies that would actually get the fundable tax credits. It wouldn't have any effect on the employer marketplace. It wouldn't have any effect on that provision wouldn't have effect on Medicaid because, frankly, already under the Medicaid proposal, there are no essential health benefits that are listed. I think you got states like Illinois that we're covering many of the benefits that are part of the Affordable Care Act. It's to me, it's a provision that will likely get put back in the Senate because many of them are popular, but many states already go way beyond what the federal government has been doing. And frankly, as long as we're having the states regulate our health insurance markets, the states should be the ones to regulate what type of are in their state.
Right. Would you agree, though, that with the argument that the Freedom Caucus made, that if you make everybody buy a policy that has to have X, Y, Z in it, that's in and of itself restricting some of the choices and causing premiums to stay higher for some of these policies?
Well, there's a wide variety of reasons that premiums are staying higher. under Obamacare. One of those is because we don't have choices. We have 1/3 of our country that only has one choice or one insurance company.
Sure.
That's not good for competition. That's not good for lower income. It's a misnomer on their part, and I frankly think it's a reach on their part. And it's another tactic that's been used to move the posts and try to negotiate with no intention of ever getting to yes. And I saw it clearly frustrated President Trump when I've been in meetings with him. He's a negotiator. That's his background, and he needs to know where people are at. And people in Washington on both sides, but those of us, especially in the majority who are willing to govern, need to know what we ask for. And if we get it, we need to be willing to vote yes. And frankly, I asked for things to ensure that we had $15 billion going toward ensuring that we expand opportunities to address mental health issues, substance abuse treatment, and also maternity care. These are crucial. We take that money, instead of just going through Medicaid, out into the states so they can address those who are not part of the Medicaid or Medicaid expansion population. It's a huge win. But those are the types of things you do when you govern. But if you don't want to govern and you keep making demands with no intention of ever voting yes, then no bill's ever going to pass.
Yeah. Congressman, do you expect, obviously the information I gave you about supposedly what the speaker said to the president about not having the votes was new information, but that aside, were you expecting to see a vote late this afternoon sometime?
I am expecting to see a vote still until I confirm that something's changed.
Right.
That was the plan yesterday. The president was clearly in my meeting with a small group of my colleagues and the president yesterday, clearly wanted to vote. If that has changed, that will be news to me.
Very good. Congressman Rodney Davis, listen, I appreciate you taking some time out. I know you've been busy working on this, but it's really helpful for the folks here in the St. Louis area to hear from you and find out what the true details are on this negotiation.
Well, I appreciate being on, Mark.
You take care, sir. Thank you.
You too.
All right. Appreciate that. Congressman Rodney Davis here from the 13th District. Now, he's been involved in the negotiations. And, I was kind of hopeful as we moved into today that they were going to bring these folks over, right? Because somebody wrote an article that said that Donald Trump is not only the author of the art of the deal, he's following his own guidebook. Because one of the key provisions in the art of the deal is that you can't be afraid to walk away. And apparently what he came to him last night when they asked for this and they got it, and then people kept coming back for more and more and more. He said, we're done. This is it. This is what we're going to vote on. I want to vote tomorrow. Now, whether that's a good idea or a bad idea remains to be seen. Again, AP and CNN are both reporting today that the health bill is still short of the votes it needs ahead of that vote that's been demanded by the president. So we'll see if this is a bit more posturing on their part or what the deal is. There are some good things that the Freedom Caucus has managed to put in here. Now, I think maybe Congressman Davis's answer on the benefits issue was a little bit confusing, but just so you know what we're talking about here, because I thought the essential benefits question was the key to this whole thing. And I was confused by it, quite frankly, in the conversation until we talked to John Shimkus yesterday. I was confused about that. I would assume if you tell me you're removing the mandates within Obamacare, one of the mandates was that everybody had to have health care. And if you didn't, you'd be fined. And the other mandate was that every healthcare policy had to contain these 8 or 10 items, and if it didn't, then you'd still get fined. If you didn't have a policy that contained every single one of these, then you'd get fined. And the argument that has been made, that I agree with, that Congressman Shimkus made, is that you ought to be able to pick your healthcare plan like you do a buffet line, right?